Rachel jolted awake in her college dorm, her heart hammering against her ribs. The room was dim, lit only by the soft glow of a desk lamp, but the air felt heavy, charged with something surreal. Her hands trembled as she clutched the edge of her bed, memories flooding back. Not of yesterday, but of a life already lived, a life that ended in tragedy. She saw it clearly. The screech of tires, the shattering glass, the searing pain as her car spun out of control. She had been racing to confront Andrew Miller, her husband, to demand a divorce after learning the brutal truth. She was never his love, only a shadow of his childhood sweetheart, Grace Chen. Her breath hitched. She touched her face, arms, and chest, whole, alive. This wasn't a dream. She was back in her first year of college, her long black hair cascading past her waist, untouched by the choices that had once broken her. The calendar on her desk read September 2018, 4 years before her death. Rachel's mind reeled, piecing together the impossible. Last night, as she slept, a vision had pierced her dreams, a figure cloaked in shimmering light, its voice like a breeze through autumn leaves. Another's desires bound you, it said. Now live for yourself. This is your second chance. The words had burned into her soul, a promise, a command. She stumbled to the mirror, staring at her reflection. The girl looking back was familiar, yet foreign, eyes wide with hope, unscarred by betrayal. In her past life, Rachel had molded herself to fit Andrew's ideals: long hair, gentle demeanor, a quiet grace that smothered her fire. She had abandoned street dance, surfing, loud laughter, and her friends, all to become the girl he wanted, a girl who, she later learned, resembled Grace, the one he truly loved. His mother's threats had forced them apart, and Rachel, a convenient look-alike, became his reluctant bride. Their marriage was a hollow shell, his heart tethered to Grace. When Grace sent a video of their intimacy, taunting Rachel as a replacement, the pain shattered her. She died chasing closure, her life snuffed out in a bitter, unjust crash. Now reborn, Rachel felt a spark ignite within her. No more, she whispered, her voice steady. She wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. She wouldn't let Andrew's or anyone's preferences define her. This time she would live for herself, bold and unapologetic. Her gaze fell on a pair of scissors glinting on her desk. An idea surged, reckless and liberating. She grabbed them, her hands moving before her mind could hesitate. Strand by strand, she hacked off her waist-length hair, the black locks pooling at her feet like shed chains. The mirror now showed a girl with a jagged bob grazing her ears, her eyes blazing with defiance. She smiled genuinely, not the practiced one she'd worn for Andrew. "This is me," she said the words of vow. Rachel's heart raced, not with fear, but with exhilaration. She opened her journal, a habit from her past life, and began to write. "I died trying to be someone else. Today, I'm reborn to be Rachel, loud, fierce, free. Andrew liked long hair, gentle girls, and quiet charm. I'll be everything he hates, not for him, but for me." Her pen paused, then continued. "The vision last night wasn't just a dream, it was a gift, a chance to rewrite my story. I don't know why I'm here, but I won't waste it." The act of writing grounded her, a tether to her new resolve. She closed the journal, feeling lighter, as if the weight of her past life had lifted. She stepped to her window, the campus sprawling below, alive with students laughing and rushing to classes. She'd walked these paths with her head down, chasing Andrew's approval in her past life. Now she saw possibilities: dance practices, beach trips, nights out with friends like Emily, who'd stuck by her when others drifted away. Rachel's chest tightened with gratitude and guilt. She'd pushed Emily aside for Andrew, but not this time. She'd rebuild those bonds, reclaim her passions, and live vibrantly, unapologetically. A knock at the door startled her. "Rachel, you up? We're grabbing breakfast." Emily's voice, bright and familiar, called through the wood. Rachel glanced at her reflection again, the short-haired girl nodding with fierce determination. "Coming!" she shouted, grabbing her jacket. As she opened the door, she felt the vision's words echo within her. Live for yourself. This was her second chance, and she was ready to seize it, one bold step at a time. Rachel stepped into the private room at the downtown club, the air thick with laughter and the thump of music. Her best friend Emily's birthday party was in full swing, and fairy lights cast a warm glow over the crowd. Rachel's newly cropped hair, barely brushing her ears, felt like a badge of rebellion. She wore ripped jeans and a leather jacket, a far cry from the soft dresses Andrew preferred. Her heart thudded, not with nerves, but with the thrill of being herself. After Rebirth, she'd spent the week rediscovering her edge, rejoining the street dance club, texting Emily about surfing plans, and ignoring Andrew's calls. Tonight, she was ready to face the world as the new Rachel. The room buzzed with chatter, but heads turned as Rachel weaved through the crowd. Whispers followed her, eyes lingering on her short hair. She reached Emily, who was holding court with a cocktail in hand. Emily's jaw dropped. "Rachel, you cut your hair?" Her booming voice cut through the noise, and the room stilled. Every gaze landed on Rachel, some curious, others judgmental. She felt a flicker of vulnerability, but pushed it down, flashing a confident smile. "Yeah, I got it done yesterday. The stylist said it's my vibe. What do you think?" "It's fire!" Emily grinned, pulling Rachel into a quick hug. "You look like you're ready to take over the world." Others chimed in, their compliments overlapping. "Bold move! It suits you!" But Rachel caught the subtle shift in their expressions, glances darting toward the corner of the room. There, Grace Chen stood, her lengthy hair cascading like a waterfall, her delicate features set in a faint smirk. Andrew lounged beside her, his arm draped casually over her chair. Rachel's stomach twisted, not with jealousy, but with the weight of her past life's memories, Grace's taunts, Andrew's betrayal. "I don't think it looks good," Grace said, her voice cutting through the politeness like a blade. She clapped a hand over her mouth, feigning regret. "Oh, Rachel, I'm sorry. You know me, too honest for my good. You're not mad." Before Rachel could respond, Andrew leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Yeah, it doesn't suit you." His tone was sharp, protective of Grace, and the room grew heavy with awkwardness. Rachel saw it clearly. He defended his true love, dismissing her as he always had. In her past life, she would have shrunk, apologized, and maybe even grown her hair back to please him. But now she stood taller, her smile unwavering. "It's fine, Grace. I like it, and that's what matters." The words were calm, but they carried a quiet power. Grace's smirk faltered, and Andrew's brow furrowed, caught off guard. The crowd murmured, some nodding in approval, others whispering about the tension. Emily squeezed Rachel's arm, her eyes gleaming with pride. "That's my girl," she muttered. Andrew stood, gesturing for Rachel to follow him. "Outside, now!" His voice was low, laced with irritation. Rachel hesitated, then followed, not out of obedience but curiosity. In the dim hallway, the music faded to a dull throb. Andrew faced her, his features shadowed, anger simmering in his eyes. "Rachel, what's with the hair? I told you I like it long. Why'd you change it without telling me?" His words dripped with entitlement, as if her body was his to dictate. Rachel's heart pounded, but not with fear, with clarity. She saw him for what he was, a man who loved her only as a reflection of Grace. She cut him off, her voice steady. "Andrew, let's break up." The words hung in the air, sharp and final. His frown deepened, confusion flickering across his face. "What? You're joking, right?" He stepped closer, expecting her to back down, as always. But Rachel held her ground, her gaze unflinching. "I'm serious. We're done." Andrew scoffed, a cold edge to his laugh. "Whatever, Rachel. You're just throwing a tantrum. We'll talk when you're over it." He turned, dismissing her, but a sudden shout from inside the room, Emily's voice, heated, cut through. Andrew's jaw tightened, and he stormed back inside, likely to defend Grace. Rachel stood alone, exhaling slowly. Her hands trembled, not from doubt, but from the rush of freedom. She'd done it. She'd severed the chain that had bound her for years. Back in her dorm later, Rachel opened her journal, the pages already filling with her new life's truths. "Tonight, I faced Andrew and Grace," she wrote. "I didn't bend. I didn't break. For the first time, I chose me. Emily was there, cheering me on and reminding me what real friendship feels like. I've been so blind, chasing Andrew's approval, losing her and myself. No more." She paused, her pen hovering, then added, "This is just the start. I'm scared, but I'm alive." Closing the journal, she felt a warmth spread, a spark of who she was meant to be. Emily texted her, "You were a badass tonight, proud of you. Surfing this weekend?" Rachel grinned, typing back, "Hell yeah." She lay back on her bed, staring at the ceiling. The vision from her rebirth echoed in her mind. Live for yourself. Tonight she had, and she wasn't turning back. Rachel sat cross-legged on her dorm bed, the faint hum of campus life filtering through her window. Her journal lay open, its pages a sanctuary for the truths she was unraveling. The party last night, her bold breakup with Andrew, Grace's cutting words, still pulsed in her veins, but a deeper weight pressed on her heart. To move forward, she needed to face the past, the life that had broken her. She picked up her pen, the words flowing like a river she could no longer dam. "I died because I lost myself," she wrote. "I need to remember why so I never go back." Her mind drifted to high school, where it all began. She was 15, a firecracker with a love for street dance and a laugh that echoed down hallways. But a fall during practice snapped her leg, leaving her on crutches for months. The bullying started fast. Classmates called her limper, stole her homework, and tripped her in the halls. Rachel fought back tears, chasing them on her crutches, only to stumble. That's when Andrew Miller appeared, tall and quiet, his presence silencing the taunts. He retrieved her papers, walked her to class, and glared at anyone who dared whisper. "You're not alone," he said, and her heart latched onto him. For 3 years, Andrew was her shield. Even after her leg healed, Rachel followed him like a shadow, her crush blooming into obsession. Everyone knew she loved him and hung on to his every word. He mentioned liking long hair. She grew hers to her waist. He praised gentle, quiet girls. She quit the dance club, stopped surfing, and softened her voice. Her friends, including Emily, drifted away, confused by her changes. Rachel didn't care. She was becoming Andrew's ideal, a victory. "I thought love meant becoming what he wanted," she wrote, her pen trembling. "I was wrong." By senior year, her efforts paid off. Andrew asked her out, and Rachel was ecstatic. She met his family, including Grace Chen, his adopted sister, who clung to Andrew with a sweet smile. Grace said, "Rachel, you're so pretty," then added, "I look like you, don't I?" The comment stung, but Rachel brushed it off, blind to Andrew's stiff expression. Their relationship deepened, and in her past life they married after college. Rachel dreamed of a fairy tale, but the reality was cold. Andrew was distant, his eyes always elsewhere. She cried, fought, and begged for his attention, but he slipped further away. The truth came in a video from Grace, sent a year into their marriage. Rachel's stomach churned as she recalled it. Grace and Andrew, intimate, shameless, her smug voice cutting like a knife. "If my mom hadn't stopped me, I'd be Mrs. Miller," Grace taunted. "You're my replacement, Rachel. He doesn't love you." The words shattered her. Rachel learned Andrew's mother had threatened suicide to keep him from Grace, forcing him to marry Rachel, a look-alike substitute. Furious, Rachel grabbed their legal papers, determined to divorce him. She sped through the city, tears blurring her vision, and then, crash, darkness. Her life ended, steeped in regret. Rachel's pen paused, her chest tight. She closed her eyes, and the vision from her rebirth flickered in her mind. The glowing figure, its voice soft but firm. "Live for yourself." It wasn't just a second chance, but a call to reclaim the girl she'd buried for Andrew. She wrote, "I gave up everything, dance, friends, my spark, to be his shadow. I died chasing his love, but it was never mine. Now I'm awake. I won't be Grace's echo or Andrew's puppet. I'm Rachel, and I'm enough." The words anchored her, a vow etched in ink. She thought of fierce and loyal Emily, who'd stood by her at the party. Rachel had pushed her away in her past life, too focused on Andrew. Guilt gnawed at her, but so did gratitude. "Emily never gave up on me," she wrote. "I'll make it right with her, with everyone I lost." She glanced at her phone, a text from Emily glowing. "Dance practice tomorrow? Let's kill it." Rachel smiled, typing, "Count me in." The campus lights twinkled outside, a canvas of possibilities. She wasn't the girl Andrew had shaped anymore. She was reborn, and she'd write her own story this time. Rachel leaned against the hallway wall, her pulse racing from breaking up with Andrew. The muffled beat of music from the private room pulsed through the door, but her mind was on the words she'd just spoken. "We're done." For the first time, she'd chosen herself over Andrew's expectations, and the freedom was exhilarating. She took a deep breath, ready to rejoin Emily's birthday party, when raised voices spilled out. Emily's, sharp and furious, clashing with Grace's sugary tone. Rachel's stomach tightened. Something was wrong. She pushed the door open, slipping back into the crowded room. The fairy lights still twinkled, but the mood had shifted. Emily stood near the center, hands on hips, glaring at Grace, who clutched Andrew's arm with a wounded expression. Partygoers watched, some whispering, others pretending not to stare. Rachel caught Emily's words. "You don't get to trash Rachel behind her back, Grace. Say it to her face." Grace's eyes widened, feigning innocence. "I was chatting with Emily. Why so sensitive?" Rachel weaved through the crowd, piecing together the argument. She overheard a friend murmur about a Maldives trip last semester, a romantic getaway Rachel had planned with Andrew. Grace had invited herself along, whining about sunburns and cramps, monopolizing Andrew's attention until the trip was cut short. Rachel had snapped at Grace then, only for Andrew to take Grace's side, calling her family. The memory stung, but now Rachel saw it clearly. Grace had been sowing discord, painting Rachel as petty. Emily spotted Rachel and waved her over, eyes blazing. "Rachel," Grace said, "you're stingy and mean about that Maldives mess. Tell her she's full of it." Grace gasped, her hand flying to her chest. "I didn't mean it like that. I was saying how Rachel got upset over nothing. You're not mad, are you, Rachel?" Her voice dripped with false sweetness, but her eyes gleamed with challenge. Andrew stepped forward, his expression cold. "Emily, back off. You're blowing this out of proportion." Rachel would have smoothed things over in her past life, swallowing her hurt to keep Andrew happy. She'd have apologized to Grace, desperate to fit into his world. But now, Reborn, she felt a fire ignite. She stepped beside Emily, her voice calm but firm. "I take it personally when someone talks behind my back, Grace. If you've got something to say it now." The room hushed, all eyes on her. Grace's smirk faltered, her cheeks flushing. I was joking," she stammered, glancing at Andrew for rescue. Andrew's jaw tightened. "Rachel, don't make a scene." "Emily, I apologize to Grace. She's my sister." Emily scoffed, crossing her arms. "Your sister started this, Andrew. If anyone's apologizing, it's her, to Rachel." The air crackled with tension. Rachel felt the weight of her past life's compromises pressing down, urging her to back off. But she thought of the vision from her rebirth. Live for yourself. She met Andrew's gaze, unflinching. "I'm not making a scene. I'm standing up for myself, something you never did for me." The crowd murmured, some nodding in approval. Grace's eyes brimmed with tears, but Rachel saw through the act. Crocodile tears meant to sway Andrew. He opened his mouth, then closed it, thrown by Rachel's resolve. Emily grinned, nudging Rachel's shoulder. "That's my girl. Let's get you a drink." As they turned away, Grace called out, "Rachel, you're not mad, are you?" Rachel didn't look back, letting her silence speak. Later, as the party wound down, Emily pulled Rachel to a quiet corner. "Sorry if I made things messy," she said, her bravado softening. "I just couldn't let Grace trash you like that. You okay?" Rachel's heart warmed. Emily had always been her rock, even when Rachel pushed her away for Andrew. "I'm more than okay," Rachel said, squeezing Emily's hand. "Thanks for having my back. I broke up with Andrew tonight for good." Emily's eyes widened. "Seriously? Holy crap, Rachel, that's huge." They laughed, the tension easing. Rachel opened her journal in her dorm, and the night's events were still vivid. She wrote that Grace tried to tear me down, but I didn't bend. Emily was my shield, like I used to be for her when we were kids. I've been so blind, letting Andrew's world swallow mine. Tonight, I stood tall, and it felt right. I'm scared of what's next, but I'm not alone. She closed the journal, a smile tugging at her lips. Emily's text lit up her phone. "You slayed tonight, dance tomorrow?" Rachel replied, "Bet." The campus glowed outside, and Rachel felt alive, ready for whatever came next. Rachel stood in the university's dance studio, the polished floor reflecting the morning light. The bass of a hip-hop track vibrated through the speakers, and her body moved instinctively, each step a pulse of freedom. She'd rejoined the street dance club days after the party, her muscles remembering the rhythms she'd abandoned for Andrew. Sweat beaded on her brow as she spun, her short hair whipping around her face. She felt alive for the first time in years, not as Andrew's shadow, but as Rachel, bold, fierce, whole. Emily danced beside her, their grins mirroring each other. "You're back, Rach!" Emily shouted over the music. Rachel laughed. The sound was raw and honest. The past week had been a whirlwind. Rachel rediscovered her passions after breaking up with Andrew and facing Grace's venom at the party. She'd signed up for surfing lessons, texted old friends to reconnect, and spent nights sketching designs for dance costumes, a hobby she'd buried for Andrew's approval. Each choice was a brick in the wall she was building around her new life. But the shadow of her past lingered. She knew Andrew wouldn't let go easily. He never had. Her phone buzzed constantly with his texts, which she ignored, but the weight of his persistence gnawed at her. That evening, Rachel sat at her desk, the dorm quiet except for the hum of her lamp. Her journal lay open, a lifeline for sorting her thoughts. She wrote that I'm dancing again, and it's like breathing after drowning. But Andrew's still out there, thinking he owns me. I'm not that girl anymore, but I'm scared he'll try to pull me back. She paused, recalling her past life, how she'd reshaped herself to fit his mold, quitting dance, softening her edges, all for love never hers. The vision from her rebirth echoed, live for yourself. It was her mantra now, guiding her forward. Her phone rang, shattering the silence. Andrew's name flashed on the screen. Rachel's heart skipped, not with longing, but with dread. She almost ignored it, but curiosity won. What do you want? She answered, her voice cool. Andrew's tone was pitiful, a tactic she knew too well. Rachel, my stomach's acting up. I forgot my meds. Can you bring some over? In her past life, she'd have rushed to his side, worried and doting, feeding his ego. He'd done this before, faked crises to keep her close, to feel her devotion. But now she saw through the manipulation. Andrew, did you forget we broke up? She said, her words sharp. Silence stretched, and then he sighed, condescending. Come on, Rachel, stop being stubborn. I'm sorry for what I said at the party, okay? You've made your point. His tone implied her defiance was a game she'd eventually cave into. Rachel's grip tightened on the phone. We're done, Andrew. I mean it. Please don't call me again. She hung up before he could argue, her hands trembling with anger and triumph. She'd shut the door on him, and it felt like reclaiming a piece of her soul. Rachel returned to her journal, the words pouring out. He thought I'd run to him like always, but I'm not his puppet anymore. I'm dancing, laughing, living for me. Emily's with me, and I'm rebuilding what I lost. I'm scared he won't stop, but I'm stronger than I was. I have to be. She closed the journal, her chest lighter. Emily's text lit up her phone. Killed it at practice. Beach tomorrow? Rachel grinned, replying, You know it. She thought of the waves, the sand, the life she was carving out, hers, not Andrew's. Rachel visited the art club to submit her withdrawal form the next day. She'd joined it for Andrew, who'd said the painting was elegant, but her amateur skills paled next to Grace's talent, leaving her feeling small. Grace's roommate was there, smirking and quitting because you can't keep up with Grace. Rachel ignored her, handing the form to the advisor. It's not about Grace, she said firmly. It's about what I love. She walked out, head high, the weight of the club lifting. Dance was her home now, not a stage for Grace's victories. Back in the studio that evening, Rachel practiced a new routine, her body flowing with the music. Emily joined her, their laughter echoing. You're glowing, Rach, Emily said, tossing her a water bottle. Like the old you, but better. Rachel smiled, her heart full. She was reclaiming her soul, step by step, and no one, not Andrew, not Grace, could take that from her. As the music faded, she felt the vision's words again. Live for yourself. She was, and it was only the beginning. Rachel adjusted the hem of her Ralph Lauren dress, the soft fabric a nod to Emily's insistence that she dress cute for today's surprise. The amusement park's entrance buzzed with laughter and the jingle of carnival games, but Rachel's stomach fluttered with nerves. Emily had been cryptic, only saying, Trust me, you'll love this. After weeks of rediscovering her passions, dancing, surfing, rebuilding friendships, Rachel felt alive, but the idea of a surprise made her wary. Her past life with Andrew had taught her to guard her heart. Still, Emily's enthusiasm was infectious, so here she was, waiting under a balloon arch. Emily appeared, waving wildly, her grin practically splitting her face. Beside her stood Lucas Mang, a senior from their department, his easy smile catching the sunlight. Rachel blinked, confused. Lucas was a campus legend, handsome, top grades, from a wealthy family, but famously aloof. Why was he here? Rach, meet Lucas, Emily chirped, nudging her forward. Rachel shot Emily a questioning look, but Emily just winked. Lucas, you know Rachel? I'll leave you two to it. Before Rachel could protest, Emily handed them 2 park tickets and vanished into the crowd. Rachel's cheeks burned. Emily set me up, she muttered, half laughing. Lucas chuckled, his voice warm. She's a force of nature, but I'm glad I'm here. Have you been to this park before? His calm tone eased her nerves, and she relaxed, nodding. A few times, but it's been a while. They started walking, the scent of cotton candy mingling with the summer air. Rachel stole glances at Lucas, intrigued. He wasn't what she'd expected, less intimidating, more genuine. So why'd you agree to this, she asked, half teasing. Lucas smiled, a hint of shyness in his eyes. I saw Emily's post about setting you up. She included your photo, and I remembered you from high school. You were in the dance club. You had this fire when you performed. I admired that. Rachel's heart skipped. She barely recalled Lucas from high school, but his words stirred a memory. A hospital visit years ago when she'd danced for a crying boy to cheer him up. Could that have been Lucas? She didn't ask, but the thought warmed her. They rode the carousel, laughing as their horses bobbed. At the roller coaster, Rachel hesitated, her dress impractical for the twists. Without a word, Lucas draped his jacket over her legs, securing it gently. Better? He asked. Rachel nodded, touched by his thoughtfulness. In her past life, Andrew had scolded her for wanting to ride thrillers, calling them inappropriate. Lucas's kindness was a stark contrast, unsettling her. Hope was dangerous after so much hurt. Still, she let herself enjoy the moment, screaming with Lucas as the coaster plunged. Back in her dorm that night, Rachel opened her journal, the day's warmth lingering. Lucas was different, she wrote. He's kind, not controlling. He saw me, not some version of Grace, but I'm scared to trust again. Andrew broke me, and I'm still healing. Emily thinks Lucas is perfect, but I need time. She paused, then added, that hospital memory keeps nagging me. Was it him? It feels like fate, but I'm not ready to believe that. Closing the journal, she felt a flicker of possibility, fragile but real. Emily texted, So, how is Mr. Perfect? Rachel rolled her eyes, replying, He's nice. You're ridiculous. Emily's response was a string of heart emojis. Rachel laughed, grateful for her friend's push. She thought of the vision from her rebirth. Live for yourself. Today, she'd lived, a little cautiously but thoroughly. Lucas's smile lingered as she drifted to sleep, a quiet promise of something new. Rachel's laughter echoed as she and Lucas stepped off the Ferris wheel, the amusement park's lights twinkling like stars. The day had been a revelation. Lucas's easy humor and quiet kindness chipped away at her guarded heart. They shared a cotton candy, his fingers brushing hers, sparking a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Emily's blind date setup was reckless, but Rachel was grateful. She wasn't looking over her shoulder for Andrew's shadow for once. She was just Rachel, alive in the moment. A familiar voice sliced through the crowd as they headed toward the bumper cars. Rachel? Andrew's tone was low, edged with disbelief. Rachel froze, her stomach lurching. He stood a few feet away, Grace clinging to his arm, her eyes narrowing at the sight of Rachel with Lucas. Andrew's face darkened, his gaze flicking to Lucas, then back to her. What are you doing here? He demanded, stepping closer as if catching her in a lie. The park's cheerful noise faded, the air thick with tension. Rachel's heart raced, memories of her past life, Andrew's control, his loyalty to Grace, flooding back. But she wasn't that girl anymore. She squared her shoulders, meeting his stare. I'm having fun, Andrew. What's it to you? Before he could respond, Lucas stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. And who are you? His presence was steady, grounding Rachel. Andrew's eyes narrowed, locking onto their proximity. We broke up less than a month ago, and you're already with him? He spat, gesturing at Lucas. The accusation stung, but Rachel saw it for what it was. Jealousy, not love. She opened her mouth, but words tumbled out before she could think. Lucas is my boyfriend. The lie was impulsive, born of defiance, but it felt right. Lucas didn't flinch. Instead, he laced his fingers through hers, his hand warm and reassuring. Let's go, he said, his tone calm but final, leading her away. Andrew's jaw dropped, and Grace's grip on his arm tightened, her face twisting with something complicated. Anger, maybe envy. They walked in silence until the crowd swallowed Andrew and Grace. Rachel slipped her hand from Lucas's, her cheeks burning. "I'm sorry," she said, avoiding his eyes. "I didn't mean to drag you into that. I just wanted to shut him up." Lucas bent slightly, his gaze level with hers, a soft smile playing on his lips. "No need to apologize. I meant what I said today. I'm here because I like you. That hospital dance years ago? You made me smile when I was scared. I've admired you since." Rachel's breath caught. The memory sharpened. A boy in a hospital hallway, tears on his cheeks, her impromptu dance to cheer him up. "That was you?" she whispered. Lucas nodded. "My mom was sick. You didn't know me, but you cared. It stuck with me." His sincerity disarmed her, but fear lingered. Andrew's betrayal had left scars. She shook her head. "Lucas, you're terrific, but I'm not ready. Not after him." Lucas's smile didn't waver. "That's okay. I'm not going anywhere." In her dorm, Rachel opened her journal, the day's chaos swirling in her mind. She wrote that Andrew's jealousy was ugly, but I didn't crumble. Claiming Lucas was a lie, but it felt true that I could have that someday. He's kind, not controlling, and that hospital story, it's like fate. But I'm terrified. Andrew broke my trust, and I'm still picking up the pieces. I want to believe in Lucas, but I need to heal first. She paused, then added, "Emily's gonna lose it when I tell her." Closing the journal, she felt a fragile hope take root. Emily's text pinged. "Heard you and Lucas were cute today. Spill." Rachel laughed, replying, "It got wild. Call me tomorrow." She thought of Emily's relentless support, pushing her toward this moment. The vision from her rebirth echoed. Live for yourself. Today she'd lived, defiantly, cautiously, but fully. As she lay in bed, Lucas's hand in hers replayed in her mind, a promise of something worth waiting for. Andrew slumped in his dorm, the glow of his phone casting shadows on the walls. Rachel's social media feed stared back at him, photos of her dancing, laughing with Emily, her short hair bold and unapologetic. Each post was a jab to his chest, a reminder of the girl he'd lost. The amusement park clash replayed in his mind, Rachel's defiance, her hand in Lucas Mang's, her words, "Lucas is my boyfriend," cutting deeper than he'd expected. He'd scoffed then, but now doubt gnawed at him. Had he let her go? He'd never meant to love Rachel, not truly. In high school, he'd protected her from bullies, drawn to her fierce spirit, but her devotion hooked him. She reshaped herself for him, long hair, quiet charm, becoming a mirror of Grace Chen, his forbidden love. Grace, his adopted sister, was the one he'd always wanted, but his mother's threats of suicide had crushed that dream. Beautiful and adoring Rachel was the perfect substitute. Her love was intense and almost overwhelming. He'd basked in it, knowing she'd never leave. Or so he thought. Her transformation shook him. The haircut, the breakup, her spark with Lucas, it wasn't the Rachel he knew. He'd sent flowers and left voicemails expecting her to crumble, to beg for him back. Instead, she ignored him, her silence louder than any argument. He rechecked his phone, and there were no new messages. "She's playing hard to get," he muttered, but the words felt hollow. He remembered the party, how he'd sided with Grace, dismissing Rachel's new look. He'd lied, it looked striking, but admitting that meant admitting he cared. Andrew's mind drifted to Grace. She'd always been jealous of Rachel, her gentle demeanor hiding a possessive streak. He'd indulged in it, enjoying the attention, but now he saw the cost. Grace's gossip at the party and her clinginess at the park pushed Rachel further away. He wanted Grace, but Rachel's fire had intoxicated him, and losing it hurt more than he'd admit. He opened his laptop, scrolling through old photos. Rachel at prom, her hair long, eyes on him. His chest tightened. "I didn't know what I had," he said to the empty room. Across campus, Rachel was thriving. She'd spent the day with Emily, planning a dance showcase, their laughter filling the studio. She opened her journal in her dorm, the amusement park still fresh. "Andrew's jealousy was pathetic," she wrote. "He doesn't want me. He wants control. Lucas was my shield, and I'm grateful but not rushing into anything. I'm healing, and Emily's here, reminding me I'm enough." She paused, adding, "I saw Andrew's flowers in the trash. It felt good." Closing the journal, she felt stronger, the vision from her rebirth echoing. Live for yourself. Emily texted, "Saw Andrew moping on campus. You broke him, Rach." Rachel grinned, replying, "Good. Drinks tomorrow?" Emily's response was a thumbs up emoji. Rachel lay back, the campus lights glowing outside. Andrew's unraveling was his own doing, not her burden. She was building a life, dance, friends, maybe even Lucas, on her terms. Andrew, meanwhile, poured a drink, his friends teasing from last night ringing in his ears. Dude, you lost Rachel? He'd laughed it off, but it stung. He typed a text to Rachel. Can we talk? Then deleted it. She wasn't coming back, and the realization hit like a punch. He'd taken her love for granted, and now, watching her shine without him, he felt the weight of his mistakes. I messed up, he whispered, but the room offered no answers. Rachel zipped up her hoodie, the dance studio's mirrors reflecting her determined expression. Practice had been electric, her moves sharper with every beat, fueled by the freedom she'd reclaimed. Emily twirled beside her, tossing a playful jab. You're a beast, Rach. Ready for the showcase? Rachel grinned, wiping sweat from her brow. Born ready. Life felt vibrant. Dance, friends, even the cautious spark with Lucas. But a shadow lingered. Andrew's silence at the amusement park was unnerving, and Grace's absence from classes felt like a storm brewing. Back in her dorm, Rachel's phone buzzed with a notification from the campus forum. She opened it, and her heart sank. A player alert post featured her photo, stamped with bold red letters, Player. The text accused her of stringing Andrew along while seducing Lucas, complete with grainy photos, Andrew dropping off flowers and her laughing with Lucas at the park. Comments piled up, some vicious. She's shameless, poor Andrew. Rachel's hand shook, not with fear but with fury. This wasn't random. It reeked of Grace. Emily burst in, her face flushed. Did you see the post? It's disgusting! Rachel nodded, her jaw tight. It's Grace. It has to be. Emily paced, fuming. We can't let her get away with this. What's the plan? Rachel took a deep breath, the vision from her rebirth echoing. Live for yourself. She'd have cried, hidden, and let Andrew fix it in her past life. Now she was done being a victim. We find proof, she said, and we shut this down. The next day, the harassment escalated. Rachel opened her dance locker and a dead rat tumbled out, its stench gagging her. Emily yelped, grabbing her arm. What the hell? Rachel's stomach churned, but she forced calm. Call the police, she said, her voice steady. Campus security arrived, followed by officers who questioned a nervous crowd. A petite girl with twin buns was caught on camera near the lockers, her face pale when confronted. I just wanted to scare her, she stammered, sneering. Everyone says she's a player. Rachel stared her down, unflinching. Is that what Grace told you? The girl squirmed but said nothing. Rachel turned to an officer. Can this be charged as intimidation? The girl's bravado crumbled, tears welling as she was led away. Emily smirked. Killing the chicken to scare the monkey, huh? Rachel nodded, but her mind was on Grace. The girl was a pawn. Grace was the mastermind. With Emily's help, Rachel gathered evidence, screenshots of the post, IP traces from a tech-savvy friend, and witness accounts of Grace's gossip. She confronted Grace at her dorm, where officers and a lawyer were in tow. Grace's eyes widened, her sweet facade cracking. I didn't do anything, she protested, but the evidence was damning. Her login was tied to the post. I just exaggerated a little, she mumbled, voice shaking. You stole Andrew, you don't deserve him. Rachel's sneer was cold. Do you think rumors don't have consequences? You're done, Grace. The officers arrested her for spreading false information, her tears now real but unconvincing. Campus buzzed with the news, students whispering about Grace's fall. She was released on bail, but the stigma clung, her smugness replaced by isolation. In her dorm, Rachel opened her journal, the weight of the day settling. She wrote that Grace's hate tried to break me, but I fought back. I'm not the girl who'd hide. Emily was my rock, and I'm proud we exposed the truth. I'm healing but still angry, not at Grace, but at the part of me that once let people like her win. I won't anymore. She closed the journal, feeling lighter. Emily texted, You're a badass, Rach. Ice cream to celebrate? Rachel replied, Hell yeah. The campus lights glowed outside, a reminder of the life she was building. Grace's malice had backfired, and Rachel stood taller, her strength forged in the fire of her rebirth. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving, and no one could take that away. As she stepped into the Mang family's estate, Rachel smoothed her emerald dress, the silk cool against her skin. The ballroom sparkled with chandeliers, the air alive with music and chatter for Lucas's mother's birthday gala. Lucas had invited her. His tone was casual but warm. No pressure, just come as a friend. Rachel had agreed, drawn to his kindness and curious about his world. After exposing Grace's forum post, she felt stronger, but the scars of her past life lingered. She wanted to test her wings tonight to see if she could trust again. Emily had teased her relentlessly, helping her pick the dress. "You're gonna slay, Rach. Lucas won't know what hit him." Rachel had laughed, grateful for Emily's unwavering support. Now, weaving through the crowd, she spotted Lucas across the room, his black suit accentuating his quiet confidence. He caught her eye, his smile lighting up, but a familiar voice called out before she could join him. "Rachel, dear!" Mrs. Miller, Andrew's mother, approached, her warmth genuine but startling. Andrew and Grace trailed behind, their expressions guarded. "You haven't visited in ages," Mrs. Miller said, clasping Rachel's hands. "I was thinking of you." Rachel's throat tightened. In her past life, Mrs. Miller had championed her, blind to Andrew's distance. Now, unaware of their breakup, she radiated hope. Rachel hesitated, then spoke softly. "Auntie, Andrew and I broke up." Mrs. Miller's smile faltered, her eyes sharpening as she turned to Andrew. "What's this about?" Andrew shifted, muttering, "It's my fault. I'll fix it." Grace stepped forward, her voice syrupy. "It's not all Andrew's fault." Mrs. Miller's hand cracked across Grace's cheek, silencing her. "Don't think I'm blind to your schemes," she snapped. Rachel froze, the room's chatter dimming. Mrs. Miller's disapproval of Grace's feelings for Andrew was no secret, but this was raw, public. Grace's eyes welled, but Rachel felt no pity. Grace's malice had earned this. Mrs. Miller turned back, her voice softening. "Rachel, I failed to guide them. If Andrew hurt you, I'll set him right. I hoped you'd be my daughter-in-law." Andrew's eyes lit with hope, but Grace glared venomously. Before Rachel could respond, Lucas appeared, his presence a lifeline. "Rachel, there you are," he said, nodding politely to Mrs. Miller. "May I steal her for a dance?" His tone was light, but his eyes held hers, offering escape. Rachel exhaled, placing her hand in his. "Excuse me, Auntie," she said, letting Lucas lead her away. Mrs. Miller nodded, then turned to Andrew, her voice low. "We'll talk at home. I've let this go too far." On the dance floor, Lucas guided Rachel into a waltz, the music wrapping them in a gentle rhythm. His hand was steady at her waist, his gaze warm. "You okay?" he asked. Rachel nodded, but her chest ached, not from Andrew, but from the weight of her past self-doubt. "Thanks for the save," she whispered. Lucas leaned closer, his voice soft. "You're enough, Rachel. You don't need to fight their battles." The words pierced her, soothing wounds she hadn't named. Tears pricked her eyes, but she smiled, letting the dance carry her. Later, Rachel opened her journal in her dorm, the night's emotions swirling. "Mrs. Miller's regret showed me that Andrew's world was broken, but she wrote that it was not my fault. Lucas saw me, not a shadow of Grace. His words, 'He called me enough,' felt like healing. I'm scared to trust, but I want to try." Emily would say I'm glowing. She paused, adding, "The vision said to live for me. Tonight I did, and it felt like love. Not Andrew's, but mine." Closing the journal, she felt lighter, her heart opening. Emily texted, "Heard you danced with Lucas. Pics, or it didn't happen?" Rachel laughed, replying, "You're impossible. Coffee tomorrow?" Emily's heart emoji flood was instant. Rachel glanced out her window, the campus aglow. Mrs. Miller's promise to address Andrew and Grace lingered, a sign of closure. Lucas's dance and his words were a bridge to trust. Rachel was healing step by step, and the vision's call, "Live for yourself," was her guide. Rachel walked across campus, the autumn air crisp against her skin. Her bag swung lightly, stuffed with notes for the upcoming dance showcase. The past weeks had been a whirlwind, exposing Grace's forum post, dancing with Lucas at his mother's gala, feeling her heart inch toward trust. Emily's constant cheer, from studio sessions to late-night coffee runs, grounded her. Yet, a prickle of unease lingered. Grace had returned to school after her arrest, her once smug demeanor replaced by a hollow glare. Rachel sensed danger but pushed it aside, focusing on her vibrant new life. She met Lucas near the library, his warm smile easing her tension. "Ready for our study date?" he teased, holding up a coffee. Rachel laughed, taking the cup only if you keep up. Their banter felt natural, a stark contrast to Andrew's control. As they walked, discussing class projects, a roar shattered the calm. An engine, too loud, too close. Tires screeched and screams erupted. Rachel turned, and her blood ran cold. A car sped toward her, and Grace's face twisted with hatred behind the wheel. Rachel! Lucas yanked her aside, his arms shielding her as the car grazed her skirt. Students scattered, panic rippling through the quad. Grace slammed the brakes, her eyes locking onto Rachel with unhinged fury. Before Rachel could process, Grace spun the car around, accelerating again. She's lost it, Lucas muttered, pulling Rachel toward safety. But a figure darted into the path. Andrew, his face pale, shouting, Grace, stop! The car swerved and a sickening thud echoed. Andrew crumpled, blood pooling beneath him. Grace stumbled from the car, sobbing. Andrew, no! Rachel stood frozen, her heart pounding. Lucas held her tightly, his voice steady. It's okay, you're safe. Sirens wailed as ambulances and police arrived, the scene chaotic. Grace was cuffed, her screams fading as officers led her away. Andrew was rushed to the hospital, his fate uncertain. Rachel trembled, the vision from her rebirth, live for yourself, clashing with the horror before her. Emily appeared breathless, hugging her fiercely. You're okay, thank God, I heard the commotion. Later, Rachel sat with Emily and Lucas in her dorm, the shock still raw. Mrs. Miller had called, her voice broken. Andrew lost a leg, but he'll live. Grace. She's facing life in prison. I failed them both, Rachel. We're leaving town to start over. Rachel nodded, numb. Mrs. Miller's accountability closed a chapter, but the tragedy weighed heavy. Emily squeezed her hand. You're stronger than this storm, Rach. We've got you, Lucas added. You don't have to face it alone. Their support anchored her, a lifeline in the chaos. Rachel opened her journal, and the day's events were a jumbled ache. Grace's hate nearly killed me, but Andrew paid the price, she wrote. I'm angry and scared, but won't let this break me. Lucas and Emily held me up today, showing me what genuine care looks like. I blamed myself in my past life, thinking I wasn't enough. Now, I know it's not about me, their choices. I'm healing, and I'll keep going. She closed the journal, tears falling but resolved firm. The vision's call, live for yourself, was her strength. Emily stayed over, sprawled on Rachel's bed. You're a badass, you know that? Surviving Grace's insanity? Rachel managed a small smile. I couldn't do it without you. Emily grinned. Damn right. The dance showcase is going to be epic. Lucas texted, here if you need me, rest up. Rachel replied, thanks for everything. The campus was quiet outside, and the stars were a reminder of her resilience. Grace's act, Andrew's sacrifice, and the Miller family's departure were a tragic end, but Rachel's story was far from over. She was ready to rise. Rachel stood backstage, the hum of the graduation party vibrating through the auditorium. Her street dance crew buzzed around her, adjusting costumes, their energy infectious. She smoothed her sequined crop top, her short hair slicked back, ready to shine. The past 6 months had been a crucible. Grace's arrest, Andrew's injury, the Miller family's departure, but Rachel had emerged stronger. Tonight, her performance celebrated her rebirth, a testament to the life she'd fought for. Emily peeked from the wings, flashing a thumbs up. Kill it, Rach! Rachel grinned, her heart full. The showcase was the capstone of her college years, a chance to honor her passions. Lucas sat in the audience, his presence a quiet anchor. Their slow, cautious dating had blossomed into something tangible, built on mutual respect, not sacrifice. Emily had been her cheerleader, from dance rehearsals to late-night talks about healing. Even Mrs. Miller's last call, confirming Andrew's recovery in a new city, had brought closure. Rachel was free, not just from Andrew's shadow, but from her doubts. The vision from her rebirth, live for yourself, was now her truth. A younger dancer tapped her shoulder. Someone's asking for you. Rachel stepped into the hallway, her breath catching as she saw Andrew in a wheelchair, his eyes darker, etched with time-worn pain. You've lived well, Rachel, he said, his voice soft. I'm sorry for everything. In her past life, she'd have crumbled, seeking his approval. Now, she nodded, her gaze steady. Take care, Andrew. She turned away, no anger, no regret, just closure. He'd been reborn through his trial, but her path was hers alone. The stage lights flared, and Rachel took her place with her crew. The music pulsed, a fierce hip-hop beat, and she moved with fire, Spins, pops, every step a release of her past. The crowd roared, Emily's cheers loudest, her silhouette bouncing in the front row. Lucas's gaze never wavered, warm and focused, stirring a memory. Years ago, in a hospital hallway, she'd danced for a crying boy, his eyes wide with wonder. That boy was Lucas, she now knew, his admiration rooted in that moment. The connection felt like fate, a breeze carrying her forward. As the routine ended, the applause thundered. Rachel bowed, sweat and joy mingling on her skin. Backstage, Emily tackled her in a hug. "You were unreal! We did it!" Rachel laughed, squeezing back. "I couldn't have it without you." Emily smirked. "Damn right. Now see your man." Rachel found Lucas waiting, his smile soft. "You were incredible," he said, his hand brushing hers. "I'm proud of you." His words warmed her, not demanding but affirming. "Thanks for being here," she replied, her heart open. Later, Rachel opened her journal in her dorm, the night's triumph glowing within. "I danced my truth tonight," she wrote. "Andrew's apology was a ghost I didn't need to fight. Emily's my rock, Lucas my breeze. Both show me love doesn't mean losing myself. My past life taught me I wasn't enough, but I am. I'm blooming, and it's beautiful." She closed the journal, tears of gratitude falling. The vision's call, "Live for yourself," was her victory. Emily texted, "Legendary night, brunch tomorrow?" Rachel replied, "You know it." Lucas's message followed, "You lit up that stage, sleep well." She smiled, texting back, "Thanks for you." Outside, the campus stars shone bright, mirroring her inner light. She remembered her mother's old saying, "When you bloom, the breeze will come." Lucas was her breeze, Emily her roots, and Rachel was her sun. Reborn, she'd crafted a life of passion, love, and strength, hers forever.